Good evening, everyone. Here I am going to discuss about one of the metaphysical poems written by John Donne, who is known as the father of metaphysical poetry, and the title is Death Be Not Proud. So, before going to the discussion of poem or the explanation or the analysis of poem, I will share a little bit about metaphysical poetry because to know the background is very much important before going to the poem. So the word metaphysical mean beyond the physical world because the word meta means beyond and the overall world word metaphysical means beyond our imagination, beyond the physical world or beyond our thoughts. So here metaphysical poets tried to use a different kind of thought than the Elizabethans or the poets who were writing in the past. They never imitated any kind of rules, any kind of structures, or any kind of formats because whatever they wrote in their own way, they wrote in their own style, and they made their own style. So here, the metaphysical poets they discussed the things which is beyond our imagination. So metaphysical poetry began in late 16th century and early 17th century. And the poets like John Donne, George Herbert, Andrew Marvell were the pioneers of the metaphysical poetry. So let's begin to the explanation of the poem Death Be Not Proud. So first of all, I will recite the poem or I will read the poem and then we'll go to the explanation. Death be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death. Nor yet canst thou kill me from rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be. Much pleasure, then from thee much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go. Rest of their bones and soul's delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chance, and kings and desperate men, and dost thou with poison, war, and sickness dwell. And popular charms can make us sleep as well. And better than thy stroke, why swellest thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death thou shalt die. So the poem is actually written in the sonnet form, which means a 14-line poem. And here John Donne used both Shakespearean as well as Petrarchan sonnet. Rhyme scheme is ABBA, ABBA, and a couplet and quatrains. So here in this poem, a poet is trying to say that death be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful. So death is personified here, and Donne is trying to say that don't get so proud, don't be so proudy, because you are not doing anything worth taking proud. Because some have called thee mighty and dreadful. People are taking you as mighty, which means powerful, and dreadful, because people thought that you are very much powerful, and dreadful, which means you are very much terrible. But actually, death, it is not the matter of taking proud. So don't take so much proud on you. For thou are not so, because you are not exactly like that. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not poor death. Because the person or the people who are dying or whom you are taking with you, they never die poor death. Nor yet canst thou kill me, and not even you can kill me from rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be. Because rest and sleep is nothing else but the imitation or the pictures of yourself, because rest and sleep even can give much more pleasure than the death. Then from the much more must flow, and the rest and the sleep which gives us pleasure, it's much more pleasurable, or is much more happier than death. And soonest our best men with thee do go. And what is happening at last? Our best men, which means soldiers and the army men and the fighters, they die at the very young age, and you take them with you, rest of their bones and soul's delivery. What you are taking with you by killing them, you just take with you their body, because their souls will never die. Their souls will be delivered to other person, will be delivered or transferred to other people, because soul never dies. So here in first 8 lines, which is in the form of octave, the poet said that death, it is not a matter to take proud, to kill someone, or to give someone death, because it is not matter of getting proud. No doubt you are terrible, no doubt you are mighty, but don't think that you are great, because when somebody is getting dead, you take them with you, you take their bodies with you, but their souls will stay here forever with us. And don't think that you are the powerful, because sleep and rest are your synonyms, are as equivalent as you are, and they are also giving us much more pleasure, they are also giving us much more happiness than you. So death, don't take so much proud on you. Now the last 6 lines, which is in the form of sestet. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. You are nothing but a slave. Slave of whom? Slave of fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. Death, you are just a slave, you are just a servant, servant of fate, which means servant of luck or fate or destiny. You are just a slave of chance, and you are just slave of kings and desperate men. But you are not a slave of a normal people. And dust with poison, war, and sickness dwell. So you are just a servant or a slave of poison as well, of war and sickness dwell. Because whosoever is dying, they dies just because of poison, just because of war, or just because of sickness. So you are just a servant or a slave of fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, as well as of poison, war, and sickness. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well. We don't need death to get a sleep or a extra rest, because that poppy or charms can give us that opium. If we take opium, we will get much more pleasure than the death. So we don't need death to take rest or sleep. Poppy is as enough as you are, and better than thy stroke. And the poet here is saying that poppy or opium, it is much more better than thy stroke. It is much more better than the death. Why swellest thou then? Then why are you like this? Why are you taking so proud on you? Because we don't need death to take rest. Because we have opium, we have sleep, we have rest, we have everything with which we can take rest or we can get sleep. So we don't need death to take happiness, because opium is more equivalent, more better than you. Last 2 lines now. When short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death thou shalt die. And one short sleep we passed, because after dying, we will wake up for eternally. We will wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death thou shalt die. Because by taking death, just our bodies die, because our souls will be transferred to another body, our souls will be transferred to another soul, another person, or it will be somewhere else. So don't take so proud on you, because it is not a matter to take a proud, it is not a matter to be a proud. So this was the poem. Thank you so much for listening this. If you have any confusion, write that in comment box. Thank you so much.